Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. It is Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan of hotels. And thank you for joining us for another podcast over here. We got Davonne Reeves is in the building.
Hey. What's up, Bruce?
President and CEO of Vesterr over here. We're going to talk a little bit about hotel investing, the do's and don'ts of hotel investing, and some of the things that you should look out for. So how are you doing today?
So you're the MJ of hotels, and I am the queen.
The queen
of hotels.
The Queen H, not the Queen B, the Queen H.
Of hotels. That's right.
So how did you get started in this business?
So I actually got started working in a hotel as a front desk agent while I was at the Georgia State University. So go Panthers. Shout out to my Panthers. And from there, after I graduated from college, was working at the Hyatt, I took a non-paid internship. Of course, my dad and family did not understand you working for free after you graduate college. But I worked at the Hyatt in the morning, and I worked at my non-paid internship in the morning and Hyatt at night. And so my thought process was, okay, I'm going to work with hotel owners, and that's how I'm going to learn the business in my mind. That's what I thought, right? Fast forward, I was there for 3 months. They loved me. And so then they kept me on full time. So I left the Hyatt, and I was there for 2 years, and I ended up moving to Boston to a larger company, larger firm. And that's why I worked with larger hotel firms.
Oh, nice.
It was still hotel ownership, but more on a consulting level, right? So building those relationships, understanding how brands work, understanding how an owner would look at a P&L, which stands for profit and loss statement, right? For those who don't know. Understanding the mechanics and the franchise fees and the different team components and the lawyers and interior design, all of these different team members that you would need, how the paint gets selected, like those things you don't think of, even when you're working in a hotel, you don't understand the PMS system.
That's right.
Right. You don't understand. You just know that you need to understand opera or whatever.
We need to know how to check them in.
That's it. You just need to know how to check them in. Okay. And night audits just make sure that the day rolls over.
There you go.
That's it. Right. And then food and beverage, make sure the food and, quality control and food costs. But from an ownership standpoint, you have to understand, increasing revenues, mitigating expenses, what's your strategy overall, right? And so I learned a lot of those things while I was in corporate. Fast forward to 2017, I became an entrepreneur. I think I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I was scared.
Yeah. Like everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's rough in the beginning.
Yeah, it's rough. And my dad, and I didn't come from an entrepreneurship family. Like my mom was in HR, my dad was a firefighter, my grandmother was a retired nurse on my mom's side. My paternal grandmother, she was a stay-at-home mom. So it was like, it just wasn't, entrepreneurship just wasn't a thing in my family. And so became an entrepreneur in 2017, 2000, and that entrepreneurship started the Davonne Group. Focus on hotel ownership consulting. 2019 is actually my first introduction to true content. Okay. And so I didn't consider myself getting into content. I was afraid of it because I was like, okay, I'm not a writer. I'm not a storyteller. I was afraid of it. But I wanted to see more people who looked like me in the ownership space. I wanted to see folks who look like me on that side. And so in order to do that, in order to get the message across, I had to use content. And I'm saying content a lot because we're here at the Hospitality Content Creator Summit. And so, and I was actually talking to an attendee, and I was talking about, he was like, well, how'd you raise the capital? Through my community, right? Through using content to build a community, which led to me raising capital for my first hotel in 2020. Home 2 Suites in El Reno, Oklahoma, made headlines, went viral and everything. I probably should have talked about that today. I always forget that story. That probably would have been a good story. But so I'll keep that for the next one. So, and if you're listening, next year I'll talk about it. And so in 2021, we bought 2 more hotels. And then 2022, I launched Vesterr. And here we are, Vesterr, first Black-owned, woman-owned, regulated crowdfunding platform where you can raise capital for commercial real estate as well as invest in commercial real estate, including hotels. And throughout my journey, as you mentioned, how did you become a hotel owner? Throughout my journey, in order for you to buy a hotel, you need money.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if somebody on YouTube, you may not have money, but somebody has to have, that's the only way.
Yeah, for sure.
Somebody has to have money.
For sure.
Somebody has to have experience. Somebody has to have money. That's just really the only way. And so from that moment, trying to navigate the capital, there weren't a lot of platforms that I could use to help raise capital. Mm-hmm. Either you had to be an accredited investor or you had to have like $100 million in real estate assets. And at the time I didn't have it. And so I don't think I knew anybody with that much. And the people who I did know, they weren't gonna party with me on my first hotel. So they were like, girl, bye. You know, because you think about it, like people think when you know people with money that they'll just like invest with you. Like that's what I thought, because I knew like a lot of millionaires. I was like, oh, I can raise the money.
And it was a rude awakening, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh, it was a rude awakening. You're like, oh, that's why you got money, because they don't know me, right? Yeah. And also people, they invest in what they know.
Correct.
So the millionaires that I knew, they didn't make their millions from hotels. They made their millions from other things. So they were at a point in their career, in their life, that they didn't want to diversify. They were good.
Okay.
And so then I found this other platform. I don't want to say the name. It was a horrible experience. It was a crowdfunding platform. It was absolutely horrible. And I was like, wait a minute. If they can do it, I can do it.
That is true.
And the experience is going to be so much better.
That is true.
And what happened was it was during COVID, and a lot of people wanted to use the platform to raise the capital. Mm. And I don't think that the platform could handle the request. So it just shut down. Like it couldn't handle it. And they're not even no longer in existence. I just happened to check on them. And so fast forward 2022, had to become a member of FINRA. I was able to raise the capital without VC, which stands for venture capitalist. In 2023, I believe. Yep, 2023, 2024. Our first deal, we raised capital for a hotel acquisition. Mm-hmm. And so when I mean we're just the platform. So Bruce, let's say you wanted to buy a hotel. Mm-hmm. Right? We're going to throw out, I don't know, I'm going to say the Hampton Inn. We're going to throw out the Hampton Inn.
Well, actually, the average Hampton deal is what, between 5 to 10 million? Something
yeah, so let's say a Hampton Inn, right? I had a Hampton Inn. Hampton Inns, they perform, right? So let's say you wanted to buy a Hampton Inn. So you're like, okay, Davonne, I want to buy a Hampton Inn, and when you buy a hotel, you need like 20 to 30% down to buy it, right? So let's say you don't have the 20 to 30%, you just have the 10%. So then that's where Vesterr comes in. And you're like, you've exhausted your friends and family. Yeah. So now you need to expand and you need to tap into other resources that meet the 20 to 30%, right? And so that's where, again, Vesterr comes in, right? So we connect the deal sponsors, which will be yourself, to the investors. And so we'll connect you.
Oh, nice.
Because you have two types of people, right? You have people with time and people with no money. Mm-hmm. Or not a lot of money. And you rarely find people with both.
Correct.
Yeah, it's either one or the other.
Correct.
So the people with a lot of time, they may not have that much money. The people with a lot of money, they don't have time.
There you go.
Right? They don't have time to raise capital. They don't have time to find people to invest. They just don't have time for all that. All right. And so basically what I do with the platform, we connect deal sponsors to people who want to invest.
Okay.
And so, Bruce, so let's say with that hotel, that example, you built the community and it's regulated. So it's a lot of regulations. We're not just a website. A lot of times people think that we're just a website. We're not just a website. So a lot of regulations. We're a member of FINRA, which stands for the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. So we have to put disclaimers out there. Our job as a platform is to protect the investors.
For sure.
It's my fiduciary responsibility, so we do background checks. So, you can't say, even though we know each other, if you decide to let's say you do decide to buy a hotel, that Hampton Inn that we were talking about, I would still have to run a background check on it.
For sure.
Because again, my job is to protect the investors, right? And so we vet the deals, and of course the investors still have to do their own due diligence, and another reason why I created Vesterr, because after I raised capital for my first deal in Oklahoma, people were looking for more deals afterwards. But I didn't have a place to send them. I didn't have like a repository or anything where I could send them for them to invest. And so I was like, ding, ding, ding. Vesterr, right? A crowdfunding platform where people it's like a one-stop shop for them to invest.
Okay.
right?
What would be the ideal investor for someone that wants to use the Vesterr platform?
Someone who wants to be passive investor, they want to be an LP investor, they want to, and the LP investor, for those who know, limited partner. So they
Now
want to
they're
invest.
the ones that they don't get the capital calls.
Well, it depends on how it's structured.
Okay.
So that's a great question. And so you have their disclosure documents that is provided, it's required. So subscription agreements, operating agreements, and those are outlined in the agreements if there are capital call requirements, because every deal is different. So that's something, we recommend that you work with an attorney or a CPA, a financial advisor, to review those documents and to make sure that you're covered as an investor.
Okay.
Right? So that's an excellent question. So you may not want to invest in a deal because of that reason.
Yeah,
the
for
capital
sure.
call. Some deals, they don't have capital calls for the LPs, only for the general partners. So that's something. And so when you invest with deals on Vesterr, you only get limited partner access. You wouldn't be able to come in as a general partner, right? But with Vesterr, folks can market, to their deal to expand their community. For folks on the limited partner side, we've received feedback that they feel comfortable investing in a platform like Vesterr because not only do we vet the deal sponsors, but the money doesn't touch our hands or the deal sponsor hands until it's closed. It's in the escrow accounts.
Perfect.
So if the deal doesn't go through for whatever reason, we just send the money back.
I actually heard a story like that. The person they invested $200,000 and the deal didn't go through, and they were trying to keep their money.
Yeah.
So that is beautiful. That is inside of escrow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of steps, we go through to protect the investors, and if we do our best, but anytime you invest in something, nothing is guaranteed.
Now, when you make that type of investment, especially in the hotel industry, one, how is the shareholder distributions set up, and two, what's the exit strategy?
So every deal is different.
Okay.
And that's actually great questions. And those are questions that should be asked to the deal sponsor.
Okay.
Right? I think there's basic questions that every person who's looking to invest passively and they've never invested before.
Correct.
I would definitely ask, what's the minimum to invest? What's my return? What's the exit strategy? What's the distribution going to look like? And who is going to run this operation?
There you go.
That is the biggest thing, because you're not investing in the asset. You're really investing, in the operation. You're the MJ of hotels, right? So if I'm investing in a property with you, I'm like, okay, you know what? This person has experience in revenue management and marketing, right? And that's what's going to drive the hotel,
Correct.
right? As opposed to someone who maybe, because I meet a lot of people, and I'm not knocking them, but I do meet a lot of people who work in a hotel, even to the highest level of even a general manager.
And they have no revenue experience or marketing experience.
There you go. Or sales experience.
Yeah. And that's what drives the revenue to make the hotel successful.
There you go. And so now they want to get into the investing side. And it's like, and sometimes they don't get approved for the loan, to your point, because at the end of the day, the lender, they just want to know, okay, will you be able to run this company for us to get our loan payment back, right? Will you be able to operate it?
And that's happened to me before. Like, they were going to just go ahead and foreclose on the property until they found out, oh, Bruce is the one that's running it. Okay, if Bruce is running it, we'll keep our money and we won't foreclose. And when I left, they foreclosed.
Oh, wow. So it's just like having that type of experience helps tremendously, working with having the right team. And so I recommend people who their first time, investing in hotels or any asset, really, whoever you're working with, do they have experience in hotel ownership, right? Does the team have experience in hotel ownership? Because now when deals come on Vesterr, and if they're like a first time hotel owner, even a second time hotel owner, now it's a requirement for you to have a consultant.
That's good.
Because you're jeopardizing folks' investment, right? And they use Vesterr, right? And so, and the biggest thing is I want to know that you're able to close. And so, of course, we had different scenarios, of course, why I had to come up with this. And I was like, oh, we should have did this. We should have done that. And so just to make sure that the investor, is protected, but asking those questions, if you work with because a lot of times you'll meet with lenders, especially if you're new in the hotel space or you're coming from a different part of commercial real estate or real estate. Yeah, I can do the hotel. No, the question is, have you ever closed on the hotel?
There you go.
And if you close on the hotel, how many? Because you can't have the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
Because if they've never closed on the hotel, they're not going to know, they're not going to know what to do. And then even with management companies, right? Is that management company right for your specific hotel? So that's why I always recommend folks to work with the experienced hotel owners, experienced hotel consultants, right? On their team, or even a management company that will, make sure that the hotel runs successful, or really asset managers as well.
For sure. As far as asset management, what are the ups and downs you experience dealing with asset managers? And
I love my asset manager. Shout out to Tommy Bayer. That's my buddy. And I come from asset management. I come from that world. And so sometimes, we get a bad rep. Some asset managers, I think the best asset managers are the asset managers who worked in a hotel.
Okay.
And the best owners actually really work because they understand it, right? Yeah. If you never worked in a hotel, you don't understand the complexities of it. The employees, they're like just a number. So I look at a hotel differently because I worked in a hotel during the 2008, 2009.
There you go.
Right. And so, when COVID happened, I was like, oh my gosh. Right. I mean, 2008, 2009 wasn't nearly as bad as COVID, but just the fact of because as you know, in the hotel industry, when we're doing great, we're doing great. But when the world is not doing great or the economy's not doing great, travel is the first thing to go.
That's right. Especially when it's your government that is causing a lot of the problems, like the government shutdown.
Right. So that causes a lot of issues. And then but then how are you treating the employees? I know we have AI. I use AI. I even have a whole AI program that walk you through how to buy a hotel. Yeah, nice. It's amazing. But you can't replace a human when it comes to hotels. Sure. You just can't. Some things will be AI agents, something will be robot. I think they even try to do the robot. Yeah. I think they even tried to do it where you could check in somebody through a kiosk and the person was in. They want to talk to a person. I don't have time for all this. Just like when you call the 1-800 number, you want to talk to a live person. You have time to talk to this machine.
That's right.
So I think that. So the point I'm trying to make is it's a people business, right? And so when you never worked in a hotel, you don't understand that if you deprive your staff because you're trying to bring more to the bottom line to make the owners more money, and the goal, of course, is to make money. But if you don't take care of your employees aren't going to take care of you.
For sure. Right.
So if you're let me cut corners and I don't want to paint the back room a bright color. Because that's going to cost too much. So now your employees who are working literally 24 hours for you while you travel the world to do whatever or do other things, because you're not checking in and getting screamed at a guest or cleaning up dirty rooms, then maybe you should invest a little bit more in that back room. Maybe invest in a little more bonuses or invest in a little more, if you come by the hotel to check on your property, instead of doing the pizza, maybe do nice pizza. Yeah. Maybe do what they really want. So that way they can feel the appreciation. So that way they can remember when somebody calls off and they have to work 3 to 11, then 11 to 7. Okay. But if you never worked in a hotel, that doesn't ring a bell. You just want to cut this person or send them about their way for whatever reason without even appreciating their hard work. And that sits with people.
Yeah, it sure does.
People giving up their lives. People didn't have kids and get married just because they worked all the time. Yeah. You work in the hotel. It's a 24-hour business.
That's true.
And you get yelled and screamed at guests.
Somebody call out, you're doing a double shift now.
You're doing a double shift, right?
Stay for 8, stay for 12.
And then they complain about overtime. You're like, are you coming to me about overtime? You know what I mean? So going back to that's why I think about with asset managers, working with people who worked in a hotel, who even started off from the entry level and worked their way up. I think that helps out a lot. They get both that operational side and that transactional side. I think that's a great marriage. I think that's a great partnership for making a successful asset manager.
Nice. Nice. Now, how can everybody get in touch with you and how can they get on Vesterr?
Yeah, so I am Davonne Reeves. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. You can go to Vesterr.com. It is Vesterr.com. It's purple. I know I have on a lot of green, but Vesterr is purple.
Perfect, perfect.
Purple. It's this guy on Instagram. That's what he says. Purple. It's purple. That's why I should start saying on Vesterr. It's purple.
Fantastic, fantastic. And listen, thank you for joining us for another episode. This is Bruce Jordan of Michael Jordan Hotels signing out. Hey, what's going on? It's Bruce Jordan, the hotel revenue expert. I just want to take a quick second to thank you for watching this video. If you could just do us a big favor and just subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more videos like this, more information, great information about hotels. I'm also the author of the Hotel Revenue Bible. You can get that book on hotelrevenuebible.com. And we are here to answer all your questions. So if you have any questions, just shoot us a quick text at 321-321-2002. That's 321-321-2002. And you can book a revenue call. Go to hotelrevenuecall.com and we can answer any and all your questions. Just make an appointment with me. You'll do one-on-one with me. You'll be able to do one-on-one with me and we could go ahead and get all your questions answered and see if you have any revenue issues that needs to be resolved. Talk to you soon. Thank you again. Hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate you.